Hi. If you're looking for a way to support Pondercast, if you like what you're hearing and want to support the content that you love, you should go to patreon.com/pondercast. And there you can set up a small monthly donation that will help me and Ty Johnson and Joshua Van Tassel continue to bring you Pondercast. Thank you to those who already support us. Thank you to those of you who are thinking about it. And thank you to those who actually go to the site and do it. Okay, let's go. Let's Pondercast. It is at this time of the rolling year, i.e. Thanksgiving, that I kind of pay a lot of attention to bounty. Maybe it's that weird horn of plenty thing, that basket shaped like a horn that has all kinds of fruit and vegetables spilling out of it, or more likely strange shellacked decorative gourds. Very weird, misshapen members of the squash family have never really signified bounty or plenitude to me, but we humans are very weird. And so are table centerpieces. But I'll tell you what signifies bounty to me is my fridge at Thanksgiving. There's lots of stuff jammed in there. Big stuff, like cauliflower and broccoli and squash and turnip and maybe a big bird. And if we are lucky enough to have people around our table and the money to feed them all, our fridges at Thanksgiving are a pretty clear reminder of what bounty feels like. I mean, is there anything better than opening the door and seeing a full fridge, seeing lots of food to choose from? What is that feeling? I know I feel like, geez, I don't have to go anywhere. That full fridge makes me feel secure and content. I feel supremely self-sufficient, like I'm in control of this small corner of the universe and I don't want for anything. I don't need anything except for someone to help me with the dishes. Where else do you feel that bountiful feeling? Look around. Is it an unopened case of beer on the back porch? A stack of clean towels? An overflowing jewelry box? 3 cars in your driveway? Your clothes closet? Or is it family around your table? What is it for you? What is bounty? Here's another word for it. You are experiencing plenitude. Plenitude means the quality or state of being full. That's the bountiful feeling. Moving beyond the fridge, I look around my place and I see these small collections of things everywhere. Over here are 12 butterflies under a glass dome, 12 of them. And over here is a collection of copper jelly molds. There's about 45 of them all together. And here's a little grouping on the stairs of miniature shoes. What is it about our urge to collect multiples of a thing, to be able to see plenty of one thing all in one gaze. I remember walking into a piano sales room with 50 pianos in one spot. That is an awesome feeling. Or to walk into a room completely decorated in polka dots. Or what I'm looking at right now, my windows on the upper half are filled with colored glass on shelves, all colors, all sizes. My brain does something. Plenitude is truly a state. I do feel full. Ever since we started collecting food, we humans have been experiencing that feeling. Looking at a hoard of food makes us feel safe and secure and less anxious. Thank you, ancient DNA. The same need, which is to feel secure, is the primary motivating force behind our urge to collect stuff. And then we arrange and display our little collections, and we create this private comfort zone. Our collections help us regain a sense of control in our lives. Your collection of beer coasters from around the world is really just to help you cope with the uncertainty of your life. I remember hearing a great story. Was it on a This Hour Has 22 Minutes episode? I'm not sure. But it was some guy who would sit in his living room late at night drinking beer, and when he got into his cups, he would start to count the number of electrical appliances he had. That is what made him feel secure and rich. And he'd start with the fridge, and then the stove, and then the furnace, and then he'd go through everything that plugged in, and it would be the electric can opener. Then a few minutes later, he'd pipe up and say, "The hedge trimmer." His wife would yell out from the kitchen, "Don't forget the electric knife." Electric knife. What makes you feel bountiful? So right about now, you're probably thinking of someone who has a problem with collecting stuff. Borderline hoarder. Maybe it's you. Well, now you can throw some cheap psychology around those glass cabinets of Royal Dalton figurines or that baseball hat collection that's gotten out of hand. How much is enough? How much is too much? And when does that safe and secure, lovely, full feeling turn into something else? To see an excessive amount of anything, a plethora of money or food or gold jewelry or books in a library can be amazing. But at what point does that cross a line for you and turn to an overwhelming feeling of suffocation? I've met a few antique collectors in my life and been able to go to their houses to see their private collection, where all the good stuff is, not in their shops. To the homes of elderly men, way over 80, living alone in a house, but it really felt like a museum. They had given over the entire house to their collection. They were living in one room. They had a cot in the kitchen. Their kitchen table was their everything table. They could barely move in that room. But they were surrounded by things they loved, things they had collected their entire life. But they had always said that they would sell their collection in their old age so that they could have enough money to take care of themselves. But now they can't do it. And they are living the rest of their lives trapped in a dirty kitchen with a museum-worthy fireplace and fireplace tools and antique kitchen implements, eating food out of a can. That's when I get that overwhelming, suffocating feeling. I had to leave those places and stand outside. It is so sad to hear them say how they were once offered $25,000 for that thing, something they treasure, and now no one wants it. Something that once gave them so much pleasure has trapped them and has become a noose around their necks. When bounty tips overboard. From the moment we are born, we are taught to look for patterns, to see a group of anything and to make sense of it, to find the logic, the way things work. I blame Sesame Street. You remember, one of these things just doesn't belong here. Our brain loves to see multiples. Nature does it to us all the time. A tree with a zillion brilliant red leaves, rocks on a beach, or just wave after wave after wave breaking on the shore, a never-ending collection. They all give us that feeling of being full. And it's a huge part of the art we love. That bountiful plenitude is found in writing. They call it maximalism. Think of books by David Foster Wallace and Thomas Pynchon, where digression and elaboration of details take up so much paper. It's a kind of writing that feels like redundant overkill. Or think James Joyce. There was a man for detail. Or in art, there's lots of maximalist artists out there. Art with tons of decoration, loads of sensuality and luxury or fantasy. Julian Schnabel, I think, fits into that group. Or let's talk about music. Maximalists are easy to find. And I think that listening to that kind of music does the same thing that our brains do when they're looking at a sea of polka dots. Frank Zappa was the king of maximalism, or Charles Ives, or another American composer, Milton Babbitt. He described himself as a maximalist, and his goal was to make music as much as it can be, rather than as little as one can get away with. Sometimes I think Canada's Patrick Watson would be in this school of fish, and Pondercast partner Joshua Van Tassel with his layers and layers and layers of sound. It can be slow and quiet. There's always something else to hear here. There's always a way to fall deeper into the music. I think this maximalist style is perfect for the world right now. In an age where we can barely tell what's real and what's not, what is authentic and what is fake, our experience of the world is all those things together all the time. This is such a complex and polarized age that we live in. I think the only sane way to experience it and make art out of it is to include everything. Our time is about excess and contradiction and uncertainty, like Walking into an infinity mirrored room by Yayoi Kusama. It puts us in a daze, which I think pretty well sums up the public consciousness at the moment. So I look around my apartment, and I must profess that I too am a maximalist. Not quite a hoarder, no. And of course, I don't think I'm trying to control my world. I mean, I don't collect one thing. My issue is that I want to include everything. My fridge led me to bounty on this episode, and to maximalism and to plenitude. Plato started it, blame him. He started it with his principle of plenitude. Plato described the universe as a place where all that can be imagined must be, one in which no potential of existence remains unfulfilled. Now more than ever, I think that we are living that. We cannot reduce or simplify our world. It is full of differences, diversity, and it is continually transforming. And isn't that what we are about in the first century of the third millennium? Our culture is ruled by variety and invention and novelty, plenitude. Plato would say, "I told you so." Or maybe he wouldn't. I have no idea what he would say. My fridge can hold every kind of food. My home holds every color. And I want everything included in the music and the art that I surround myself with. And I want, when I step outside in my apartment, to see the world that way too. To see everything all at once.